Made it to where I wanted to camp, and yeah, wind's blowing like, I don't know, 35 mile an hour consistently, maybe more. Really windy. I'm kind of worried about my tents. So, some might consider this a weird idea of fun, but it's pretty fun. And come first light, we walk about 30 yards that way, and we'll be looking into the basin, hopefully finding some deer.
Sure is windy.
Bit of a gear explosion right here in the living room. It's kind of commonplace anymore. I'm just always traveling in between trips, so the living room floor becomes kind of my organizational pad, we'll call it. But anyway, getting ready for a really cool mule deer trip. It's a really special spot, man. I've been hunting here for probably the last 10 years, really as long as I've been hunting. Taking some really cool bucks out of here. They don't grow super big. They kind of top out around the 140, 150 inch mark. It's just a spot that I've been exploring really my whole life. Pretty stoked to get back in there and see what we find. Back in 2013, my good buddy Shane Rickert started to hunt mule deer with me in this spot. Shane and I, we've been friends for a really long time. We ski together, hunt together, just do a bunch of different outdoor activities together. And usually we get in over our heads on pretty much every occasion that we can, which makes for some really great memories. A lot of experience to add to the old wisdom bank. So Shane's just an awesome guy to get out in the woods with. So in 2013, the night before the rifle season opener here in Montana, Shane and I decided to hike way up to the head of this basin and camp up top, theorizing that come opening morning, as soon as those first shots rang out, all the bucks in the basin would get pushed up and come up to the head of the basin, which is where we were at. So Shane and I got to the trailhead at 10 p.m. and what should have only taken probably 2 or 3 hours ended up taking about 6 hours because we got into some really deep snow. It was just a sugary mess. Right at first light, 15 different hunters in this basin just started working their way up. 13 mule deer bucks come streaming right up and ended up shooting the biggest of the bunch. We really questioned our sanity after the fact because we had about an 8-mile pack out. We couldn't go back the way we came because the snow was too deep, and so we had to go way down and around, and it was a lot of fun and a cool experience to share with a buddy, and it was one that very quickly became a hunting tradition for us. So year 2, we decided to do the exact same thing, only on top of an adjacent basin. That summer I'd been seeing a bunch of deer in this other basin. I think everything would have worked out great, but there was no hunting pressure from the bottom of that one to move those bucks out of the timber and up. We saw one buck way down at the bottom, but needless to say, we still had a good time. So year 3 of hunting here with Shane, decided to go back to pretty much the exact same spot that we did the first year. First light, spot a really cool buck way off. Pretty narrow, but he's got a few like little kicker points. It was kind of like clockwork. Here comes all the hunters working their way up the basin, and the first shot rings out, and this deer, he stands and he just starts kind of working his way side hilling up kind of towards us. And then this huge cloud comes rolling in and just starts dumping snow and rain, and we lost our visibility for pretty much the rest of the day. So we spent most of the day just hunkered down in the tent, peering out, waiting for the clouds to lift, and fortunately that evening the clouds did raise, and that buck, he had stayed in the basin, but he'd moved up to the highest patch of scrub timber, which was in rifle range for Shane. I'll let the footage roll, and so you can see the outcome of that hunt.
Crushed him.
Did I really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Drake! Yeah, buddy!
Oh, man.
That is a cool deer.
Well, Shane and I, we got everything loaded up, and I got 500 vertical up to camp, so giving her.
Without my love for the pack outs are the most testing and most fun part. The last like 20 vertical feet. Got her.
Without my love for the ocean, I would be no
Really fun hunt with a great friend. Shane's put in a lot of time up there, and it's pretty exciting to have him connect on the biggest deer that we've ever taken out of those mountains. This year, hoping for similar results, my dad, friend Wayne, and myself went into pretty much the exact same spot. The whole hike in there, we're getting pounded pretty good by wind and weather. The wind's ripping and it's really foggy, so hopefully this lifts by morning. The wind gusts got bad.
Wayne is getting blasted over there. Hopefully that tent holds up.
And of course the next morning it's just ripping just as hard as it was that whole night. Unfortunately, wind and wildlife do not mix well. I think that real strong winds causes the wildlife to basically lose their sense of hearing. If they can't hear anything, they typically, from what I've seen, they just hunker down and they don't move. And so we actually didn't even see a deer until noon that following day when the weather kind of died down. A few of the bucks kind of got out of their beds and started working around a little bit. All we saw were young bucks. The following day it was supposed to be even higher wind gusts. We had 50-mile-an-hour gusts that night. It was supposed to raise to 60 miles an hour. Bummer, because you know we put in all this time and effort to get into this spot. We opted just to bail off the mountain and get the heck out of Dodge. Unfortunately, that's the way she goes sometimes. I would love to have wrapped this vlog up with another great mountain buck taken out of this area. I guess there's 4 weeks left in the Montana general rifle season to hopefully do so. Plenty more vlogs in the works and lots more hunting. Stay tuned.
Club, White Club,
Well, tent time.
John Forte.
Just let me understand why it is that I keep you alive. I can't wait.
This is how we eat well in the mountains. Foot long, 2 foot longs.